So, hello everyone. Uh, Thank you for joining us today. Just let us check once again if everyone is hearing me and seeing me well. Just put a plus on the chat. If everything is good, we'll go on. Uh, all right, seems that everything is fine. Great, awesome, thanks. Once again, thank you for joining us today. Today is a special day when we will introduce something new and not what you are used to have from Galileosky. So you all know us as the manufacturer and designer for GPS equipment, for the GPS tracking hardware, for the advanced tasks, for the complex solutions. But here we have something different today, and we would like to introduce you our new application, which is actually the software, it is called Exigner. This is the application for the driver, and we call it the most flexible telematics driver app ever. So why is it flexible, and why should we use driver applications? This is actually the topic of our discussion today. But here with me is my colleague, who is Andrew. He's the technical support engineer, and he will highlight more about the details on how to set different dashboards, how to set the different parameters transmitted on the display of the driver. From my part, this is Andrew. You might.
Yes, hello everybody.
Hello, Andrew. So for my part, I will briefly introduce you the Exigner application. Will show you the overall approach. Why should we have the driver app? How we can motivate the driver to act better with it. So what could be the advantages and benefits of Exigner driver application? What kind of tasks might be solved? And actually, in the end of my presentation, the Andrew will become the host, and he will show you the configuration of different widgets and dashboards, and show you how you will see it on the screen, how the driver will see it on the screen, and what could be the use of that. So our usual webinar length is about 60 minutes. I think we will make it in time today. So as usual, the record of the webinar will be sent to the email which you mentioned while registering to the webinar platform. So, and all the webinar related questions might be asked in the questions tab. So it is there right in the upper right corner of the screen. So in the chat tab, you might have your own chat between each other, but for us to be more, it is more comfortable to answer in the questions tab, because we can see each question one by one and not to lose any of your questions in case there are some. So I will also have my part dedicated to frequently asked questions in the end of my presentation before the Andrew will start. But in case there are any questions left, feel free to ask them on the questions tab. So there we go. The most flexible telematics driver app. Why is it the most flexible, and why should we use telematics driver app at all? So while developing this application, we thought of the entire fleet management system and GPS tracking system. There is the GPS tracking hardware, and the Galileosky is doing a great job for tracking the objects. And there is the other part, which is the platform, which is dedicated for the dispatcher or the integrator or the fleet owner to make some operational decisions on their fleets. So it is done for reports, for track drawing, for getting any other information which is valuable to make those decisions. But we don't have the driver in this system so far, so they are not involved. They are not engaged into the tracking of the vehicles. They are not engaged into the optimization of the fleet operations, not to the enough extent at least. So this is it happens because they are lacking of the information. They don't have the same information that the fleet owner has. They don't have the same information that might help them to do better. So, for example, how can we keep them aware of how much the fuel is left when they're handing the shift over, or when should be the resting time not to get the fine for the tachograph violation. So, and how can I be reminded that I should have a rest? What is the temperature of my cargo? So I'm moving the perishable goods, but what is the temperature over there? If something happens, I should do something, so I don't have the feedback about it. So what mileage should I write in the roadway bill? How safe is my semi trailer when I'm outside of the vehicle? So how many engine hours made? How many fuel have been dispensed? How many and many other applications which might be done. What is the axle load and so on. So there are so many questions that the driver has, and there are not so many answers that he might have from the fleet management system so far. So this is why we have developed the Exigner, and this is why we are giving this information to them, so they might have the instant feedback about the important data which is being transmitted to the fleet management platform but is not yet available for the driver. So the information might be brought directly to the driver through the some connection through some communication channels. So the next thing that we can help the driver to correct the driving style. So we can eventually prevent the fines, and we can reduce the fleet maintenance costs. We can reduce the fuel costs by teaching the driver better driving habits. So instead of having the report in the end of the day that they have violated so many rules, we are given the opportunity with the driver application to have the immediate reactions and the immediate feedback that he's doing something wrong. So, for example, to create the green, yellow, and white zones for different parameters like speed, acceleration, braking, cornering, or whatever might be important for the customer else. So yeah, they have the instant feedback if they are driving bad, and what could be done in order to improve their driving behavior and in order to improve the fleet maintenance costs. So also we can control the crucial parameters. We can help the driver to control those parameters. It is not only about the cargo and the temperature of the cargo or something else. It is also about the information which might be received from CAN bus. So, for example, if the tracker might transmit DTC error codes, so the driver might have the error codes landed on the application itself. So he might have the push notification and to have the sound that will eventually draw his attention that something is wrong with the vehicle. You should do something right now in order to avoid a lot of different costs that might occur. So as well, then again, to control their driving and resting times, so not like they replace the tachograph feature, but to help them to comply to the um, tachograph legislation. So in order to make them to warn them that they should have a rest, we can notify them beforehand in the Exigner driver application. So what else? So this is in overall how it looks like. So this is the tablet PC, and you see that there are different widgets on it. So the customer, the integrator, is having the opportunity to create any set of widgets that is valuable for this one specific partner, or one specific customer, or one specific project, or one specific driver, or one specific vehicle. So it is very flexible, and there are some major things about Exigner driver application is that all data which is being transmitted by the Galileosky tracker is landed on a single screen. So the driver might see the whole picture on one screen, and it is enough for having any type of reactions of him. So but a lot of information is not always good, so you are free to display there the only information that they need in this specific project, in this specific vehicle. So there's no fixed interface. The integrator or the fleet owner is free to build the set of widgets they would like to have. So, and it's very adjustable, because it's not only about the having these specific widgets built, but it's also about customizing it for the customers. So you may change the fonts, you may change their size, you may change the colors. So in the end of the day, you have the opportunity to create the widget with the corporate colors of the customer. So it is as flexible as possible. This is why we actually call it the most flexible telematics platform, the telematics application for the driver on the market so far. And one and as I consider it, one of the most remarkable feature is that it is available not only on the online. It's not only about GPRS data transmission. It is also being done on the local side. So we can build the system which will be exchanging the data within the vehicle, not having the internet connection involved. So the direct connection over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth might be done in order to transmit data between the tracker or and application inside the vehicle. So I will briefly introduce another advantages of that later, but here are all the advantages on the one screen. So we can display any real-time data. So we can even control, we can even send some commands through Exigner application as well. So there is some specific field for that. We can share the dashboards. So once you have created one specific dashboard, you can share it with the users that you want to have these dashboards for their operation, and online and offline operation modes, which are available as well. So, and here on the screen, the operation scheme. So you see that the tracker transmit data directly to the tablet PC, which is installed inside of the cabin. So the transmission is done over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. At the same time, the data is being transmitted to the monitoring platform that the customer is used to have. So all the reports, all the tracks, everything that they are used to have, it will be there. But there is another extra value which we can create by getting the driver engaged, by having the instant feedback about the vehicle performance to the driver. So the two ways to purchase actually, and how we can use the Exigner application. The good news that Exigner Driver App is free of charge, and it's free of charge when we transmit data over GPRS. So when it comes to the internet connection, we can just simply install the SIM card into the smartphone or tablet PC, and to exchange the information with the tracker through the web server to the smartphone, and it is free of charge from our side. But there is also the better news that we can sell the license keys packages of those Exigner application which are involved with BLE or Wi-Fi connection. So for the local version, in other words. So, and there are a few reasons why why it is worth buying actually. So why purchasing the license key, not having the free version of Exigner driver application might be better. So first of all, the application will not depend on cellular network coverage. So I'm not talking about those projects where we don't have GSM coverage at all. We also talk about those projects and those vehicles which are moving between the cities, and I'm sure when you are moving, traveling throughout your countries, you are having some blank spots where there is no GSM coverage at all. So having just GSM version of driver application, we will have the data disappeared on those spots, and having vice versa, the local version which works over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi might do the job better. So just the driver will never miss the important notification. He will always see the data on his screen. So additional advantage is that there will be no cellular cost for smartphone or tablet. So we will just don't need any SIM card to be operating on the smartphone. So no data costs. The communication is done free of charge inside of the cabin between the tracker and the driver application Exigner. So, and there it is another opportunity for our partners, for the management providers to earn some more money by selling Exigner application, selling these not free packages of licenses. So, and there are a few ways on how the packages are distributed. So first of all, there is diversification in number of keys which are sold. So there are packages of 10 keys, 50 keys, and 200 keys. So based on the project volumes, or just having the opportunity to stock some licenses on the integrator side, you are free to choose the package size by yourself. And there are also some different periods of activation of the packages. So there are 1 year licenses, there are 3 years licenses, and unlimited licenses. So 1 year licenses might be convenient when you should first have the driver application installed on your customer vehicles, just to get information about how efficient would it be, what results would it bring, and then after the year you might decide on buying some extra and have extra 3 years added to the customer portfolio, just by the results of the first year. And there is also unlimited set, which is comfortable for usage, for example, in those projects where there is not that much opportunity to reconfigure the devices, because they are frequently being outside GSM coverage, and they're not that available to renew the licenses periodically. So here we have few options which you are free to choose. To get the exact rates, I would recommend you to contact your responsible manager, to your personal manager, or to drop us the email on sales@7gis.ru. So we will send you the detailed tarification with all these types of options. And yeah, there's also, yeah, so obviously the free trial period, which we will provide the keys for as well. So then we will move to, as we expect, the frequently asked questions before you ask us them. So if you have the question, which Galileosky trackers would operate with Exigner application? Well, first of all, those are Galileosky 7 product line base block and OBD2, and all these devices are transmitted data to Exigner over GPRS. For local Wi-Fi connection, you obviously need the Wi-Fi tracker, and those are 7.0 Wi-Fi, base block Wi-Fi, and base block Wi-Fi hub. There's also Bluetooth option, which would be available very soon on the upcoming modification of Galileosky 7, and we definitely will announce them. And this is the option that you should consider as well, because yeah, this is probably the most efficient way of using Exigner and Galileosky trackers together. So next step, how much? The answer that I have partially answered, because it really depends on the package you would like to purchase, on the period of activation of the Exigner application, 1, 3, or unlimited, 1 year, 3 years, or unlimited, and many other, and actually that's it. But in order to get the price, just please send your request to sales@7gis.ru, or just ask your personal manager. How to create a dashboard for the driver? I guess Andrew will show you it in details after my presentation ends. But overall, the dispatcher or integrator create and add dashboards at those widgets that are important for the driver, and just share it with the driver. That's it. But the next question is, if the driver has the right to edit the dashboard. Well, we do not. We think we should be flexible, because yeah, in the most of the cases, the driver should not edit it. So there is the opportunity to set view only mode. But then again, we have the opportunity to give access for someone, not necessary for the driver, to make those adjustments. So to make it editable. So just it's up to you to decide. Once you create the dashboard, you are free to share it with the customer, with the driver, whether it would be editable way or just on view only. So yeah, this is up to you to decide. The next question that we might have, is it possible to display data from several trackers on the single dashboard? And yes, it is possible. It is important, for example, in the projects then when we have a truck with the tracker and the semi-trailer, for example, with the refrigerator and the tracker there as well. So there are two trackers on the vehicle, and both of them might land the data on the single screen. So, and there are also there are actually unlimited connections over GPRS. The maximum number for Wi-Fi connection for the single smartphone is 10. This is the Android restriction, to be honest. And the usual number for Bluetooth connections is 7. This is another restriction from Android. But sometimes some smartphone manufacturers, they extend it to a large amount. So usually it's not less than 7. Sometimes it's more than 7. Can I use Exigner with trackers from other manufacturers? At the moment, no. So we only have the opportunity to integrate Exigner and Galileosky trackers, those two parts. Does we need the SIM card to operate? So actually, you don't need the internet in order to operate with Exigner, as mentioned. So the data transmission might be done locally over Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but you only need the internet connection when you actually download the driver application to the smartphone, and when you download the dashboard on it. So once you have downloaded it, so you can just arrange the connection locally over Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. All right. Next question might be: do we have the opportunity to transfer data to the monitoring platform which customer is used to have, at the same time use Exigner application? The answer is yes, we can do that. So more than that, we can have the communication with two servers simultaneously at the single time, and to display, and the same time to have the transmission between the tracker and Exigner application over Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. And probably the last question: is Exigner a vehicle monitoring platform? No, it's not, because we only display the real-time data. We don't have any history. We cannot draw the track on that. We cannot build the report. So we only use it for having the up-to-date information, what happens now, something instant, in order to have the opportunity to react. So yeah, this is, I guess, my part of presentation. I will pass my word to Andrew, who will show you on the screen how flexible Exigner is in building the different type of dashboards, and how actually it looks like on the smartphone and on the planche, on the tablet PC. All right, Andrew.
Yes, thank you very much, Maxim, for introducing me. Hello, everybody, once again. Please write if you can hear me well, if everything with the sound is good, and we'll begin. Maxim gave you the basic understanding of what our Exigner tool is, what it can do, and what it can be used for, and why would you like to, what would you benefit from if you use it. I will now share my screen in just a couple of seconds and give you a basic idea of how you can actually set the Exigner to work with your Galileosky tracker, how easy it is, and what possible ways there are to make it work using different channels. So first of all, let me show you the Exigner itself. Just 1 second. Please tell me if you can see the exigner.com page. Okay, great. So here, this is how the starting page looks like. It's exigner.com. It's the web interface of the service where the dispatchers and the owners of the fleet owners, the fleet managers can work, can create dashboards, can add devices, can maintain licenses, and so on. You register once. I will now just enter my credentials that I already have. And after that, you gain access to your personal space in Exigner. It has different pages here. So the first one is devices. It shows all the trackers connected to your account. One tracker can be connected to only one Exigner account and will be shown here on the devices tab. I will further show what to do to add a device to the page, to the service. After it's added to the service, it can be edited here. So here you can give another name, not the email, just for easier understanding. And you can delete the tracker from your software once you're not using it anymore. The dashboards page is probably the main page because here you see the list of all the dashboards that you already have. You can create new ones and you can modify some of them. You can see here that on the left side there are three symbols, quite easily read. It's editing, it's deleting, and the last one is granting permissions. As Maxim already said, I already told you before, we can not only create dashboards in our accounts, we can also share it with other people, with other accounts in Exigner using this grant permissions tool. All the dashboards that you created yourself are shown here. And have all the three options: grant permissions, delete, and edit. But you can see, notice that there is a dashboard example which does not have grant permission, and a test dashboard, well, it's in Russian, which doesn't have any of the symbols. The thing is that when you access when you share the dashboard, it looks like that on the shared account. The one that can be edited has only edit and delete options, while the one that is for read only is not given any options of editing or deleting or sharing, which means that if you are creating separate account for your client, you can make sure that he will not modify the dashboard that you are providing him, although of course he can use his own. We'll look at the dashboards in more detail a little bit later. The Exigner, the help tab on the Exigner service shows us, well, first of all, of course, the current version of the Exigner. We have different versions now since it's on the beta testing. Beta testing stage. Soon it will be released, and I guess that the number of versions available will be less. And there are two forums. If you, while testing, find any bugs, any mistakes, you can describe it, attach a screenshot, and send us to our development team so we can fix some certain issues that you find. And we greatly appreciate when our clients do that, because that means that, well, we are building together a certain service of a certain quality. And second one is you can offer a suggestion if you see that there is a possibility for a new feature or a new widget or a new opportunity that we can implement in our service that you need. So also you can type a description, you can attach some scheme or some painting or some image if you want to support your description with some visuals, and we'll also send it to our development team, to our dev team, so that they can look what can we do to make it work and to make it live. And the last one here is the settings tab, which helps you to change the password if you need and change the preferred version, the one that I mentioned before. So for now, we have a number of versions available, as you can see. I'm now using, as far as I know, the one that was done the latest stable version. But you can change, and once there will be new releases of new versions, they will also be shown here, so you can upgrade your version of Exigner just choosing it here in case there well arrives a new one, because the service is new, and I'm pretty sure that we'll have a lot of modifications and a lot of new options in the uh, in the nearest future, which will result in new versions. Now, before we go to looking at the dashboards and how to work with them and how to edit them, I just want to give you a quick look at how we can actually set our tracker to work with Exigner. So I will now share screen of our configurator tool and just show you quick settings. So you should now see my configurator tool. There are just basically, in order to work with GPRS, there are two basic settings that you need to enter. The first one is on the security tab. It's called user ID. You set the ID that you use to log in into the Exigner tool, or the one that you will be using. So if you haven't registered yet, but it's better, of course, to register first and then enter the existing ID, which will be your email. As I already mentioned before, one device can work only with one user ID, with one account on the Exigner program, which means that which is seen here, where you can enter only one user ID. And the second setting is you should enter the data server to be exigner.com as IP address and port 32,000. You can enter it either in primary data server or secondary data server. It is used only for GPRS connection. When you're connecting locally, you do not need to enter this server credentials to be connected with your local device via USB or Bluetooth. But if you want to connect remotely, and if you want not only the driver to see what is going on with the tracker remotely, but also the dispatcher as well, you would need to enter into one of these servers the data that I've shown. For local Wi-Fi connection, the settings are all the same, pretty much the same as when you're working with a Wi-Fi hub or EasyKeeper application, which means that you need to enter for Wi-Fi settings the APN, authentication type and password of the access point of Wi-Fi that you are going to use. There are two commands here, not in this tracker, but because it does not support Wi-Fi, but on any tracker supporting Wi-Fi. So standard command is well, actually Wi-Fi. It gives back all the settings of the current access point, and the same settings are replied and copied to the Exigner Wi-Fi point, and the command for it is X-Wi-Fi. So pretty much the same, just first two letters are added, and they are E and X from Exigner. So you can separately set Wi-Fi point for Exigner as well. The Wi-Fi point for Exigner will be secondary one, so which means that if you have Wi-Fi point set for standard connection and it is different and the tracker sees and can connect to it, it will connect to it and ignore the Exigner Wi-Fi point. But if it doesn't see any but the point that is for Exigner, it will connect to the second point. For Bluetooth, it's even easier and even simpler. Also cannot show here because Bluetooth for now is in the process of developing, but there are already some working samples for 7.x, and there will be just a special tab called Bluetooth, where you can set the period of how frequent you want the data to be sent using Bluetooth, using BLE to the Exigner. Also, you can set the protocol to send this data. And one more important issue here is that when you're working with the Exigner locally using your tracker, you need to send the email in the main packet as well. For BLE, it will be a separate packet, but for Wi-Fi, just main packet, the same that you are sending to the server, should be used. Basically, that's pretty much all the settings that you need to make on the tracker to be connected to Exigner remotely using GPRS or locally. Of course, also that implies that you need to have the latest firmware available. For now, it's 21.12, but also 21.10 is also working. And the configurator tool should be the latest as well, which is 4.19.4. Now, let's have a look at how we can work with the Exigner tool on the web server side, how we can work with dashboards and edit them and design them. I will now share my screen again with the Exigner tool. Just 1 second. Now, as far as I can see, everything is working now. I can access any of the existing dashboards, but first I want to show you how it looks from scratch. So we just enter a plus, and we see the current page, empty page for now, with the dashboard name, the dashboard source, from where the data will be going into the Exigner, and different pages. Also, there is the widgets tool, the widgets page on the left, which we can expand and take a look at all the widgets available at the moment. I'm saying that they are available at the moment, meaning that it is possible, and I think that even there are certain tasks to create new widgets as well. But for now, this list is all we have that we can use to work with the Exigner. The dashboard title is what you see when you are accessing the dashboards page. So we can, for example, name it webinar dashboard. The data source can be a tracker, one of the list that you've already seen on the devices list, or we can create a configuration. Creating configuration means that you can show not one tracker on the dashboard, but show data from multiple devices. In this case, all the widgets that are added or to be added to the page will have a special setting to choose from what tracker to choose what data. While when we choose only one device, for example, the one with 44 in the end, any widget that we are going to add will have on the settings only the standard settings from where to take the data and what are the ranges. But we cannot choose from what device to take data because all the data is taken automatically from the tracker that we've chosen previously. There are certain types of about the pages. There can be any number of pages, so you can create many of them, share the dashboard with the driver, and while he's driving, he can simply check different pages to see different data coming. So here, everything is pretty simple. The types of widgets are the following. So the parameter and caption are just informative. They are just showing certain data that you, not the data even from the tracker, but just the data that you wish. For example, the caption shows certain text like text example. You can see that by default the auto font size is set and the alignment is in the center. Um, Now, if all widget sizes can be changed by the right lower part. And when we change, as you can see, the font is auto-adjusting to the size of the block we are making. Let's just make it of a medium size and move it here. One more thing. When you're moving the widget, you just click and drag and drop it on any place of the widget and just put it wherever you want. You can see that there is invisible grid on the Exigner page, which automatically puts it in the right place you want. And if you wish to put it somewhere where another widget already is standing, it will just move away. So it's very convenient, and it allows you to organize your workspace with more efficiency. As for the data that we take from the tracker, there are the following types. So the text just shows us certain text data received from the tracker. It can be array when it's using text format like ASCII, or it can be, for example, command text or reply text. No, not reply text. Response text, right. So the Exigner tool supports sending commands to the tracker, and you can not only see the command text, but you can also show the text of the response. There are 3 types of gauges and 1 chart that can be available. The gauge plus I've already shown you, so it's a circular one. We simply set a certain parameter that we want to show on the gauge. For example, let it be external voltage. And we choose the ranges for where we will show different colors and different values. Since it's in millivolt, I'll just make the ranges a bit more than they were and set like this. But for now, the tracker is not receiving external voltage. Okay, we can show internal voltage as well. And so you can see that it's not arriving instantly because we need to wait for a new point to arrive. Only then we can show a new value of the for the gauge. Linear gauge is pretty much the same, only it shows everything in line. The gauge itself, without any data, is showing the same line but without ranges. So if the gauge plus and linear gauge shows ranges, the standard gauge will not show any. And the chart is showing data historic. Well, it shows not historic, it shows the data in chart, meaning it will show it's in the matter of time. It's one of 2 historic charts that actually show not only the current data from the tracker, but also some analysis for some time. That is actually a quite interesting thing, and what you should understand about the Exigner that Maxim already mentioned. It's not a monitoring software. It does not save the archive, and it does not allow you to work with points archive. It only shows the current data received from the tracker, from the latest points. Otherwise, there is no analytics, it cannot work with mathematics, and it cannot save data inside. Apart from that, as I already mentioned, there is a table element that shows historic data not in the graphic form but just as a table. I will also show it on the example of internal voltage. So you can see that each point that it receives, it stores here in the table, and we can see how it changed. For example, we see that from 1243.46 to 56, the voltage got lower by around 20 millivolt. So the driver can also look at these changes if needed and react to them. We have two types of indicators. The one being a circle inside a white box, and the one being the box itself. So it's up to your taste and how you want to see that. They are working with discrete values, meaning that if 0 arrives or nothing arrives, which is equal to 0, they are red. Once anything arrives, they are green. And the last three are map. For now, we're using Google Map. Sorry, missed once again. For now, we are using Google Maps, which are showing the current location. We can change the size of the map so you can see different whereabouts. There is the command place where we can print the command and then send it to the tracker. And we can show the photo from the tracker if there is any on the microSD card. For now, on the tracker that I'm showing, there is none. So out of these simple tools that we have, let's have a look at what dashboards can actually be made. So there is the example dashboard here that shows different parameters. You can see that we can go lower, so the page is pretty huge, and also there is a second page, but it's empty. Then we have a driver monitor that shows also different data, just for some point without the map in the center, but okay, and so on. So there are different types and different tasks that these dashboards can be used for, where you can create any number of parameters and show any number of parameters on one page. You can use practically any tags that we have in our protocol. So just for example, if we look at the field or of the input, you can see that there are inputs, output statuses, the navigation data, the CAN data, the user tags that were in the beginning. So pretty much all the tags that are in the protocol Galileosky can be used here, applied here, shown here, and shown to the driver to be more involved, to see different data about that, and so on. More than that, if you look at the lowest field, just one second. Okay, I have seen here, yes, there is a possibility to enable notification for the mobile application, where you will receive sound notification and receive a pop-up message that something is wrong with the exact text of the message. Now let me just briefly show you how it looks like from the mobile device point of view. So once again, I'll have to switch the screen that I'm sharing. Okay, so this you see now here is the tablet where we already have the Exigner installed and entered. So the devices are loading here, and you can see that here there are devices shown in only in offline mode. So you see in this part here that it allows to switch to online mode, but currently it is offline without connection to the internet, and it's only working locally using any wireless connection that it can see. For now, it sees two Galileosky V7X trackers connected via BLE. One is offline, the one then that is lower, but one is online, which is higher. So if we access any dashboard here, actually, we can choose this tracker, and it will give us data. Uh, Also, you can see that there are different types of notifications, not only using the the pop-up messages that I've mentioned earlier, which actually can be seen here. So if you look, these are all pop-ups from the Exigner tool showing the exact message, what is going on, and which means that the driver will receive sound notification and text notification, and will surely get the idea what is going on and what he should do. And plus, there are different types of color notifications. For example, in the graph in the center, you can see that the color is showing the current level of the fuel in the tank, while the gauge on the left shows from a certain point, from 3000, it is showing color on the background. Now, there are different pages, of course, where you can switch. So I am now doing it on the tablet side, which means that the driver also has ability just to push the button and see the new screen here. The map is drag and drop, so you can also just uh, use your manual switching for and navigating the map, and you'll see new data here. So basically, this is all that I wanted to show for today. Let me change back to the webinar location. Yeah. If you have any questions on the matter, we will be happy to answer.
Yeah, and I will join to the question section. Sorry once again, yeah, for showing the some widgets in English, but overall, there is the idea that you can call any widget as you would like to call it, and you can transmit any data from any tracker. But overall, yeah, it's possible to display it in English as well. So there were some general widgets like date and time, speed, gauge plus, and so on. So yeah, you're free to create as you wish. So yeah, we are here for a few minutes to answer your questions. We are almost on time. Yeah, we have like 10 minutes for your questions in case you have some. In case we haven't covered something during our presentation today, please feel free to do that. Yeah. Also, let us draw your attention since this is the first release of Exigner Driver application. We are planning our further plans to its development. So once you have any certain feedback about functionality which is lacking, yeah, we are here to listen to your thoughts, and we will eventually pass some words to our developers and put some valuable remarks to our development list. So yeah, let us leave a few minutes to your questions. So there are not so many. I think me and Andrew are good enough to cover it all. So
Yes,
but
there is a question about licenses.
oh really?
Yeah,
Just
in the middle of the chat.
oh really? Ah, to buy let's give a mail address, which is all right. I see that. The question from Serge Guerreri. Well, to buy licenses, you should first send the request to us. So we will actually provide you with the certain package of the licenses, which might be activated at Exigner to the email of the device, and eventually the device operation between tracker and the smartphone would be available after this activation. So it's not about sharing the dashboard, it's not about sharing the widgets to the driver, it's about activation of the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth transmission inside of the device. So we send the list of the keys once you purchase a certain amount of the keys, and you can have the opportunity to activate them right within the Exigner. So we will definitely share the manual on how to do that eventually. So it was a brief introduction of Exigner application, but overall, yeah, this is the procedure. And how to download the Exigner application from, I guess, if it not yet happened, but from minute to minute, the Exigner will display on the Google app or on the Google Play, on the Play Market. So you can download it right from there, and already test it for GPS transmission. But if in case you need the demo license for Wi-Fi or Bluetooth transmission, if you already have Galileosky 7X, or if you're expecting to have it, so yeah, feel free to ask us. We will share the license. Some yeah to better say to share the 30 days trial. Can the dashboard page be shown full screen? I'm sorry if I didn't hear it being said. I yeah I
Yes,
thought
yes.
yeah
When
yeah
it's in the not in the editing, but in just read-only view, it is actually shown full screen with a small line on the top where you can see the device choosing the device where to take the data from and the name of the dashboard. So basically, it does not take that much time, that much space. Sorry, and it takes pretty much the full screen, the dashboards itself.
yeah yeah. Thank you. One more question. I guess yeah, we have some questions in the chat. Please
Yeah,
do that
yeah,
in question
yes.
tab. But yeah, anyway, we will answer those as well. Final user has to launch an Exign application. Definitely, they should download it to their smartphone. So otherwise, we have no opportunity. They will. It's free for download, so
Yes.
they can do it right away. It's not that difficult. Just to have the regular procedure for Play Market application downloading.
Yeah.
But the only thing they will buy um, is the license for local communication between the tracker and the smartphone. Uh, is it possible to have the presentation by email, please? The question from Mr. Fold Camera. Yeah, sure. We can send you the presentation, so you'll also have the record of this webinar sent to your email, which you have indicated while registering to the webinar platform. So yeah, my search mentioned that the question is different. I guess we have answered. All right. What I mean, you mean what we see as user? Who we treat as the user? There are several users of Exigner. So the driver will see the full screen widgets on his platform, on his tablet PC, or the smartphone. That's all that he will see. So you are, as the integrator, are able to create those dashboards and to share the view only to the driver, and he will see only the widgets. That's it, nothing else. All right. If you have any questions, if it's not that if it's not that clear, please answer it. Ask it as well. The question from Mr. Stephen Dogbow. So, the best of my understanding, this great too. tool, I guess. Exigner is actually designed to send and data to device remotely. Is that correct?
Any data, I guess, to send any data.
Yeah, to send any data to devices remotely.
Not only remotely, so there is, well, actually, it's not even the Exigner sending the data to the devices, only if it's not commands, because we can send commands to the tracker. Usually, it's the device itself that sends the data to the Exigner, and the Exigner shows, so displays it for the driver on screen using mobile interface or some PC or monitor or web application. Uh, the thing is that it's not only remote, it can be also done locally, as we already mentioned, using Wi-Fi access point, local access point from the mobile device, or using BLE if the tracker supports it.
Yeah, exactly. The next question from Mr. Neil Langner. Can I use Exigner app to allow driver to identify themselves, thus enable vehicle to start and display driver behavior? This is a good question, actually. Yeah, I don't think that it's possible right now to make the identification with like RFID readers or something like that, or like with the RFID cards or something like that. But the opportunity to enter some PIN code
Well,
seems to be
actually,
quite.
using the cards, it's better to use the tracker itself because it
Yeah,
supports easy
yeah.
logic and it has all the tools to create logical schematics that will allow the driver to identify himself. But you can also send the ID of the card to the Exigner because it's one of the parameters that can be sent and displayed on screen for the driver and for the dispatcher to see what driver is driving at the moment. So it's also possible.
But I should mention that the idea of entering some PIN code on the screen of Exigner in order to allow the driver to enable the vehicle, it seems to be very good.
Yep, yep. Well,
Yeah, so
it's not can support it now, but as an idea,
yeah,
yes, it's a good one.
this is what I told about when I told that this is
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
release and we will hear the feedback of our partners. So yeah, this is the good feedback. Thank you. The question from Mr. Asrar Atman: is it possible for canvas data? Sure, you can do that. Any data which is being transmitted with Galileosky tracker in our protocol can be transmitted right to Exigner. So you are free to pick those parameters that should be displayed on the screen and just to build the widget of your own. So yeah, it's possible.
Yep. Nothing to add here.
Thank you. All right, we almost out of time, but I guess we could have one or two questions. So if there are, obviously, can we calculate the data on Examiner?
Um,
Let's say kilovolts to volts.
No, unfortunately for now, it's not possible. It's not supported. So no mathematical operations are allowed. Are to be made on the Exainer side for now. As far as I know, there are some tasks on that, but I'm not sure if if that is possible to be implemented. Still, right now, not possible. So only
But
showing. Yep,
yeah, overall the calculation, some calculation might be done on the device side
yep,
in easy logic.
or
So just
filters.
your filters, yeah. So just having the ready digit or ready figure being transmitted to the Exigner application, and you have the job done. So right now, yeah, we have easy logic on side of the terminal, not on the application. However, yeah, this is the good point as well, and we will definitely consider it in the future developments. All right, I guess those were very good questions, and we'll thank you once again for taking part in such an outstanding webinar. It's something really new for us, presenting the software, to be honest. So looking forward to have your requests for the pricing, for the details, for additional enhancements of Exigner, for testing of Exigner as well. So yeah, in case any questions left, we are there to address them, so to answer. And thank you then once again for sharing your time with us today. See you next time. I guess the early in December there will be the last webinar of the year. So yeah, feel free to join it.
Yes, thank you very much for attention, and we'll see you. somewhere in the December.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. Bye.